Get this figure and more at Hobby Link Japan, and don't forget about that merch. Hey, my name is Jobby, and I think it's time for me to properly come back. You guys like the wall? It's got all your bullshit in it. Thanks for the love, guys, and your patience.
PLS No, I don't want the cam back, God no.
The robot Damashii Strelitzia is from the Studio Trigger anime show Darling in the Franxx. And for those of you who don't know, Darling in the Franxx is a piece of propaganda designed to repopulate Japan through sexually charged imagery, a 2D anime goddess, and giant robots with tits. In other words,
Japan is fucking dead.
if you wanted a more clear, more serious explanation, you can go ahead and check out my SH Figuarts Zero Two review, links in the description. Out of the box, some assembly is required, namely this huge flexible horn, and just like her pink-haired pilot, it's very hard to stand her up. Using this butt clip, you can plug her into a Bandai Tamashii Nations Act 5 Sandstone separately, and that could plug into this included base. Or you could just skip the arm entirely, and plug her into the base directly. Both of the feet have holes in them. It is possible to stand her up on her own using these ball-jointed heels, but there's already enough suffering in the world, just plug her ass in. Regardless of what I think about the show itself, as outlined in my Zero Two review, I have to admit that Strelitzia has an awesome design. Sure, it did take me a while to get warmed up to it. I mean, the idea of a mechanical schoolgirl is kinda dumb. But what keeps Strelitzia from being too stupid is that she's not distractingly fetishized. Okay, maybe a little bit. The sexual characteristics of the giant robot ties into the whole blooming sexuality metaphor that I mentioned previously. It's all very smart and intelligent. I mean, Strelitzia herself is even named after a flower. Ties into the whole blooming sexuality. You get it, right? It's really smart. It's not stupid fan service at all. There's tits on a giant robot. Why am I defending this shit? Did they really have to make her this thick? Unfortunately, this beautiful butt sculpt is immediately broken once you rotate the legs even a little bit. Spread the cheeks. But even with this fatal flaw, it's still a better butt than Zero Two's. And if we pass through all the clean painting and the elegant mechanical detailing, you'll see that her face is also a lot better than Zero Two's. Remember what I said about Bandai's anime face sculpts in the Zero Two review? From what I've seen, they have this sort of bland, semi-realistic, almost Kigurumi quality to them. And if you know what Kigurumi masks are, you know that's not a compliment. Well, that definitely doesn't apply to their robots. I wouldn't have blamed you if you didn't remember. I made that video roughly 20 years ago in internet times. Strelitzia's face is incredibly show accurate and cute as fuck. And it only gets better with her alternate faces. The instructions say you gotta remove her horn, but it's on there pretty tight after you've attached that, so fuck that. Don't forget to remove this chin guard. In addition to her default frown, you get a really cheeky grin, and the least threatening yelling face ever. Why the fuck are you so cute? They really want to make the giant robot cuter than any anime girl. And that's not the only accessories this figure comes with. You can switch out these creepily flexible hands for a pair of fists, or this single grabby hand. You only get one because you only need one. This weird angle at the wrist that's gonna help her hold this huge Klaxosaur killer. That's not the official name for the weapon, but it sounds cool as hell. Fuck off. You also get a shield that looks suspiciously like fin funnels of a... With weapons in hand, the figure feels a little clunky and difficult to handle. But thanks to all the ball joints and rotation at the fiddly bits, there's an ease of mobility that's not immediately obvious at first glance. Sure, Strelitzia's proportions are admittedly super wonky, so you'd think she'd have a hard time holding any sort of action pose. Nope! This figure is super lightweight with solid joints, allowing for a full and satisfying range of pose ability. She can look up that far, look down that far, ball joint at all 4 of these hair strands, and you could even rotate each of them. Ball joint at the shoulder pads, ball joint at the shoulder proper, allows for rotation, hinge joint here, bicep rotation, bend at the elbow, ball joint at the wrist, ball joint at the shield. This wire is a bendy wire, allowing it to hold some poses. Ball joint at her mechanical tetas, which allows for an arc, a crunch, and some rotation. Ball joint at the hip skirts, ball joint at these front panels, and a ball joint at these side panels. And this whole attachment is connected to a ball joint here. Ball joint at the hips allows for an impressive kick, and the leg can move back that far. Beautiful spread. ball joint here allows for some thigh rotation, bend at the knee, that's a slight rotation there, nothing at the stump of a foot, but you do get those previously mentioned ball jointed heels. The robot Damashii line delivers once again with a giant robot that's amazingly articulated and also disappointingly small. Here's Figma Ryugomatoi, Figma Satsuki Kiryuin, Marika Godzilla Prime, and the SH Figuarts Zero Two. Despite the obvious size discrepancy, they look great together. But as I mentioned in my Zero Two review, there's a way to connect these figures for an even better display. What a clever and well-executed idea. I might just leave them on the shelf like this. But again, there is a part of me that wants an SH Figuarts Hero where Strelitzia currently is. I need my shoehorn anime romance immortalized in plastic, god damn it! Overall, I genuinely find this giant robot attractive and I hate it. This figure is awesome. I like this way more than the SH Figuarts Zero Two. But then again, I am kind of biased for giant robots, can't you tell? Robos before hoes. She's also way cheaper than Zero Two for some reason, as you can see if you click the link below to Hobby Link Japan. Definitely pick her up if you're a Darling in the Franxx fan, and check out their other Franxx figures, including Zero Two, Did Nothing Wrong, and Delphinium, who's just the hotter Strelitzia, fight me. So if you like this review, leave a like, give me a comment, let me know what you think, and subscribe for not any more Darling in the Franxx reviews, unless they make a Strelitzia figure that can transform into a Zoid. I'm done talking about this mess of a show. I have to admit though, the only reason why I would come back to Darling in the Franxx is if they made a figure of Giant Space Wife. Spoilers, that actually happened. Fuck this show.